Okay, guys, this afternoon, you are going to work on your think and review questions, but I'm also going to share the answers to your crossword from Tuesday. So if you would, take out your newspaper, take a look at your crossword, see what answers that I have, and then maybe change your answers. And you can also go into the Google document and change your answers as needed. This is kind of a review of what the answers would be for our crossword. And, you know, maybe some of the same answers could pull up in our quiz on Friday. So let's take a look. We have two across. That's what I'm going to start with. It's called a document that describes the government of a country. What big document can we think of that describes the government of a country? So I'm going to go down here. The word constitution is what comes to mind, and it fits. See, when I write C-O-N, constitution. Constitution. My next question, and then I can kind of just cross off that I've done that one. My next question, 5 across, the number of people living in an area or a place. Well, that is the population of a place. Number 7, an area uninhabited by human beings. We talked about this part when we were reading on Monday about maybe going out into the middle of nowhere and really kind of setting up our way of life. We called that the wilderness. That was over in the second paragraph. It says they actually walked into the wilderness and had to begin from there. That would be a place that is uninhabited by human beings. Wilderness, W-I-L-D, like wild, E-R, ness, N-E-S-S, wilderness. Number 8, prejudice or discrimination against someone of a different race based on a belief that your own race is superior to theirs. That answer was actually brought up when we talked about the African Americans who lived in the Northwest Ordinance. We talked about, even though that there was no slavery that was allowed, we talked at the bottom of that paragraph that they still faced what we called racism. That is discrimination or prejudice based on someone's skin color. So we use that for number 8, racism, R-A-C-I-S-M, racism. Number 9, to be chosen to represent a group of people by voting. So how do I get chosen? We just had one of these at the beginning of November. That's called being elected, E-L-E-C-T-E-D. That is being elected to represent a group of people. You are elected by voting. All right, so I'm done with my across. Now I have to do down. Down, meeting to discuss shared values. Now, this is a big meeting. We don't really call them this necessarily that much. Parents might go to these if they want to watch a topic where their work has something going on. We're going to call it a convention. where they're discussing becoming the territory becoming a state. That was the first and second convention. So one down, C, and notice because we did Constitution across, that O is already there. CONVENTION, convention. One down. Let's look at 3 down, a branch of the U.S. government that creates laws. Now, the best way that I typically remember that this is the certain branch that I am talking about is it's the legislative branch, but for some reason it's not necessarily the branch. This is the group of people. They are a part of the legislative branch, but they're made up by Congress. That is what we're going to use as our word going down. Congress is that group of people. They're in the legislative branch. They're the people that make laws. CONGRESS, Congress. Number 4 down, contention. Contention meaning arguing or kind of like negative interactions. Contention between 2 parties that usually involves violent action. We had this a couple of weeks ago in I think it was week 4 in Social Studies Social Studies Weekly. That was what we called conflict. That contention, CON, and we can already see the I and the T is already formed in that word from our cross. CONFLCFICT, conflict. And our last question going down is a formal agreement to end a war. That was a vocab word last unit, and that word was treaty. We also underlined it on Monday. It was on page, it was on this middle page, and where we circled, we talked about the Treaty of Greenville, and in the second paragraph, it says a treaty is a formal agreement to end a war. So some of these answers you had to infer based on your prior knowledge, and some of them were found in the text. But hopefully you got most of these answers. Fill in the ones that maybe you have a little bit different of an answer so it matches my crossword, and then make sure your answers in the Google Doc reflect the answers written out here. Okay, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. And what you're going to work on next is your Think and Review. There's going to be a Google Doc for that Think and Review, and I would like you to check that out in Google Classroom. Please use your Social Studies Weekly newspaper to help you out. All right, guys.